Welcome everybody to the Daily Crossing. This is episode number
5 plus 4.
9. 9 it is.
Yes.
Número 9. Guys, great to have you. Great to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing
What's
good.
going on
Yes.
How are you, Lorena? What's happening?
Amazing. Unbelievable.
Yeah, you were saying something about the
I like the little boats.
cuteness.
They're like... I decided to go no jacket.
What does it mean? Can we do a little bit of a psychoanalogy?
No,
with that? Are you trying to go somewhere? Are you running away
I'm
from
on a mission.
something?
I'm not running away from anything.
Okay, I just try to test it out a little bit. We don't know what's actually happening.
Sure.
Guys, everybody, great to see you. We have a number of things that we definitely want to cover as soon as possible. Some of the things that are extremely important, especially connected to the economy. Some of the stuff that's going on. There has been a very specific recommendation by very, I would say, important people when it comes to investment, the investment community, and people that truly know or they have a very good pulse about the economy and things that are going on, some of the ups and downs, you know what I mean? And so we're going to start with the biggest recommendation that everybody's making about not doing any significant size purchase, and we're going to go into the nitty-gritty of that. But they're saying don't go into a significant size purchase for the next, not 6 months, not a year, for the next 18 months.
Oh my
and I
gosh.
think we can
Year
go
and a
into that
half.
for a little, right? So the second thing is the Biden administration right now, as a matter of fact, the United States Armed Forces is experiencing the largest military deployment that we have had. I can't even tell you. I mean, something that, it's amazing how we take for granted the last 4 years. If anything, we were shrinking our presence in certain areas that didn't make sense. I'm gonna give you a number that is gonna blow
great.
your socks off. You know what I mean? It's difficult to believe that it's like we're gonna double down on something that was supposed to be, if anything, becoming smaller. The other thing that we're gonna address, obviously, is a little bit of the exit strategy. Today, one of the things that we're gonna do different is, if you at risk of you running the possibility of losing your job, you're thinking about just from the technology sector, over 100,000 jobs were lost in a matter. Just in the last 60 days. Is that safe to say? So and we are again one very specific sector, 100 to 150,000 jobs that were lost just like that, and that's just on the big companies that are being reported. Probably at this point, that number is more like 250,000. People, unfortunately, if you happen to be in that situation or be at risk, we want to give you some very specific recommendations. Guys, I also want to give you a little bit of an update about what's going on with some of the new laws that the Biden administration is putting forward for everything that's going on at the border. Legal, illegal immigration is going to have an impact on both of those things. And finally, I think it would be worth to mention what happened. Putin's speech just went viral. Everybody's talking about whether, again, some people agree or disagree with this guy. There's a couple of things that I think it would be worth for us to mention and to bring it up to everybody's opinion. But let's how about we get started with this conversation about investing in or being very careful with any of your expenses. It's the whole thing is manage your debt. 18 months, so a lot of money experts talking about not making a big investment.
Yeah.
For a lot of people that went through 2008 and they remember that, that was one of the things that happened a lot. You had a lot of people that were buying a big house at the time that you were supposed to be shrinking, or some of the lending strategies were about to go away, or people buying all these fancy cars, or buying, the $50,000 Rolex at the time that you were supposed to be saving and downsizing. Yeah. And one of the things that was highlighted was the alarming, extremely low amount of savings that we have going on compared to the rate of debt, how it's growing. So what's your take on that recommendation in any specific area that you will tell somebody to even pay a little more attention?
Yeah, so for me, I feel like it's one of those things with Money, it depends on what your current situation is. That's going to determine what's going to be the best thing for you. So, for example, it is one thing like they say, oh, don't buy a brand new car. What if you have no car? Do you get what I'm saying? Because now me getting a car, even though it may not be the best time for me to buy a car, it could give me the ability to go and make more money.
But are you referring a new off the dealer?
Well, I'm never. Yeah, no. I get you.
To avoid
Correct,
depreciation, or are you just saying don't go make a 5, 6, 7, even if it's a used car, not to make a.
Yeah.
But if you don't have one, I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, you're probably not gonna want to go and buy a brand new car.
Yeah,
I'll probably never buy a brand
I don't know
new
how you
car
can-
shit off the lot. But at the same time,
I'm gonna tell you something about that.
but at the same time, but I can see how making a big purchase, even though it may not be the best time, could be the best time for you.
Correct.
So for example, even like let's say don't purchase a house. What if the rent that I'm paying is ridiculous? Then which one do I do? Do I continue paying a ridiculous rent, or is it worth it for me to purchase that? Even though it may not be the best overall time, is it possible for it to be good for me to still purchase a house because now my mortgage will be cheaper than what I'm spending on rent every month?
The answer to that absolutely is it depends.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah.
It depends. There's a number of factors because sometimes you're better off having a landlord than for you
Assuming
to
the risk.
actually
Got you
become.
be the
By the way,
landlord.
not only you become the landlord,
No, you're assuming the risk.
the bank is absolutely becoming the landlord.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you don't have the benefit of calling the landlord.
That's true. That's
right?
true. Yeah.
And so, listen, buying a property only has two very specific benefits. You know what I mean? The idea is that you obviously connected to home ownership, you know what I mean, American dream. But the idea is that you're going to build equity. Now, you build equity on a property only two ways, right? Either I'm paying it down,
Yep.
right, and I'm putting enough money. To be quite honest, most people don't know the first 7, 8 years of payments. That does
interest.
absolutely nothing against the
Correct.
principal. You're just paying the
Yeah.
bank is happy. Let me put it that way. If you can keep the property for 8 years, they're gonna be okay. We're gonna make some money no
Correct.
matter what, right? Now, if you happen to be in a situation where you're gonna be discouraged, right, because you're paying down 1, 2, 3 years, and you don't see the benefit of equity being built through the pay down of the mortgage, right? And then the second component is you what you're hoping for is for the value of the property to go up.
Correct.
So those two things, right?
Yeah.
Property value going up and the balance that you have on that mortgage
Yes.
going down will create equity, right?
Absolutely.
And you
Yeah.
want that because guys, the economy of the street is actually activated mostly through real estate and the equity
Right.
that happens to be on property.
So I see what you're saying, but I see the point that you're making where you're saying, hey, look, for anybody that's buying a house right now, this will be my recommendation. Number one, if you're somebody that is like, I'm paying an incredible amount of rent, it's going to go up again. Knowing that you actually do become the landlord, knowing that you get to assume the risk, by the way, of something happening to the house, you unable to pay it, you end up, with a really bad credit, homeless and all that stuff, and you still have to take care of the debt. All of these things have to happen, foreclosures, all of that stuff. So that being said, here's the for specifically the house. If you're gonna be in the house for the next 10 years because you're saying, you know what, there's a good school here, my children are gonna go to school here, all of that stuff are being considered, and you're just not buying the house for the purpose of I'm gonna wait for the equity to go up anytime soon, I think it's a good move. For anybody else that's just let me buy an investment property, stuff like that, I don't think that's the time. I think right now is the time to save up cash for you to be able
Airbnb?
It's
well,
it
that's one of the
depends. It depends. on, how much
so
money.
here's where I look at it is looking at where the economy is right now with everything that's being set out in the market. What industries are affected? The first industry that goes is hospitality and tourism. So does Airbnb. Does that make sense? To say even those guys are about to take a hit. That's the way that I look at it. So
Just keep in mind the following, right? That even in a situation, listen, the timing connecting to the process of buying a house
make a big
is so
difference.
important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the housing market is affected just as much as the actual stock market when it comes to the high highs and the low lows that take place.
I bought
So-
a house in 07.
Right, so imagine that, right? You're buying at the highest point. Now, the market is already going down.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. It depends.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be buying this house at the lowest point, if everything that they're saying about this year really takes place the way it's being said,
Yeah.
then you, more than likely you're gonna be able to actually do the following: you're buying the property at the lowest point,
Yeah.
right? Hopefully, you still have the ability to get a decent loan, even though interest rate went up. You know, what I mean, you still have the capability to get a.
refinance
Listen,
that
we're
if you
not
make
back
the
in the
payment.
days of Jimmy Carter when it was 19%. Right? I mean,
Gotcha.
you're right now you're faced with a 5-6%, but it's not 3% when it was
Yeah.
at the lowest, right? But if you're buying it at a low a price and it's a reasonable mortgage, and then you're gonna have the ability to gain equity through the value of the property, then guess
That
what?
makes sense.
Lucky you. Not
Got it.
only that you're replacing something,
Yeah.
now you have the benefit of equity, right?
Got
It's
it.
not just that I don't have to worry about, and also that's another component. If you're doing a purchase like that and you're not speculating about the market, like I'm gonna
Yeah.
buy it and then I'm gonna see if I can flip it and
Yeah,
sell
yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be there for
It's not
6
the
months and then I move to.
Yeah.
If you're not playing that game, because the people that truly get hurt are the guys that are doing just that
Got it.
precisely.
Got it.
You know what I mean? They bought it to see. Let me see if I can hit the lottery and I'll
Second
make out of it.
property.
And
Yeah, yeah.
Next thing you know, you're
So
stuck with like
I got
20
a
properties.
question, and I think you can answer this one. So what if I have a house already,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know I want to get out of this house. Does it make sense for me to sell it, or do I wait another 2 years before I sell, or what do I do
Well,
then?
again, it depends. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
the idea was that at some point you wanted to cash out and
Mm.
get that money out of it, or you're gonna need that money in, again, we're talking about the next 18 months, the next 2 to 3
Yeah.
years, right? Because what that means is 18 months is still dealing with a depressive market.
Yeah.
Right, but again, it's a great time to purchase a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But you almost got to wait to see how is
See
it
what's
going
gonna-
to
got it.
bottom down. But if you
But if you're on the
gonna
selling
wait
side,
in
you're
the
losing.
you know what I mean, when it's gonna come out or it's gonna come up again, when you're saying should I sell it? Somebody in my book, you already late like that.
Yeah,
That should
should've
have been
sold it.
done yesterday.
Got it.
But by the way, you still have the ability right now. Usually, this is here we are. You know what I mean? Getting to the end of February. The real estate market is usually opening up normally during end of February, March, April. You see a lot of stuff, a lot of activity.
Gotcha.
You can put the property out there, hoping that you're still going to be able to command some of the prices that were available
Yeah.
last year, but that may not be the case. The market correction appears to be already happening.
Got it.
And the thing is that everybody keeps saying. I have a lot of realtor friends that keep saying. We have so many people moving to the state of Florida, right? So you do have some areas where people are moving specifically,
Right.
Miami, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville. That there's certain areas where you see a lot of that. Some of Melbourne, some of the areas that you're still gonna see some level of activity. But what you're gonna see a lot also is gonna be the rental market to actually get stronger.
Yep.
For two reasons. I'm not able to buy and I'm here.
Yep.
And then most of the people that are coming to the state of Florida, they're not buyers, they're renters. You know what I mean? They are people from New York, people from, they have no issues.
Nobody
The
owns in New
whole,
York.
yeah, they were not familiar with this whole idea of, but if you have the ability to, if your idea was like, I'm ready to get out,
Yeah.
because you need to do something
Should've
different with
done
that, or
that
you're
like
gonna, you need to
6,
cut your
12
losses
months ago.
like right now.
Yeah.
Got
right?
it. Got it.
If
If not,
everything
wait
that
it
they
out.
saying, yeah, at that point you're stuck with the property for the next
Hang
seven
on for a minute. I have a question
7
though.
years, 5
Got
to
it.
7 years.
Because this is multiple publications are actually saying that multiple experts
Correct.
are saying, hey,
Warren
no big
Buffett, you have
purchases.
Elon Musk, you
Okay.
have
So did we in '08? I was young and completely clueless. So
Right.
I don't know if this happened in '08.
now you're just clueless.
Yes, right? I guess so. Okay,
Not young
whatever. I got my
anymore.
little boats.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
can hit me today. Just so you
Running
know,
away
you
from
can just
something, I'm telling
throw
you.
them at me, and I'll be like,
No,
just
go ahead.
what is
No.
it? Floating away from it.
Yes.
So no. That being said, did you see this happen? Because you have a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom, maybe due to age, right?
It's gonna be one of those. It's
that
gonna be
being
one of
said-
those episodes.
So, did this happen? Were experts coming in and saying that back in '08? Did you see it? When did you see it? Was it early enough, or was it we were already in a hole and we were dealing with it?
There was a group of very sophisticated people that really had a pulse on what was going on with the market, but that was such a tiny fragment of
So it
the
wasn't
overall
like this.
economy. not even the. I think that precisely because of what happened in 2008, 2009,
Well, we're paying attention.
precisely because of the access that we have to information, communication, precisely because we know the guys that actually got it right, and we have the ability to
Yeah.
go watch movies, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
documentaries about what happened there. There's a ton of them that we can refer at the end, you know what I mean, but the fact of the matter is just this guy Michael Byrne, you know what I mean, this guy
Burry,
was just unbelievable, you know what I mean, how before anybody saw it. Listen, government was late, the market, the private industry was late, and most of the so-called professionals of the markets were like not only late, even during the time that it was actually happening.
They were denied.
It was like 100% denial because just think about it, right? We do the same. If we do the same, and you come to me and you go like, so what do you think is going on with the
gonna
market?
get better.
I got two choices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I tell you the truth, I'm also putting myself down in the process.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I got to be a little hopeful, right? And I
Right.
got to sell you a little bit of that hope.
Yes.
Lorena,
So-
don't worry about it. This is just this year. It's going to get better. And that went on, and that went on, and that went on up until people are like losing
Those
a
are the
lot of these
a lot of people are
professionals.
blindsided though.
Got
in a
affected
way,
more
that's
than
how it
anything
felt.
else. Correct.
And so do you? Because I guess 2000 wasn't as well documented as 08 did, because there's something similar happened in that 2000.
That was a little different though.
How?
That was because it was
It was a market, though.
Yeah, but it was a flash drop. You know what I mean? It was something that lasted. It was short. As a matter of fact, I mean, if you want to talk about that, this is we're going back to 9/11. That we also we're coming out of the Y2K
Yeah.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
Everybody was
Yeah,
freaking.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
say goodbye. Have a drink. I said, listen, I'm just gonna drink and not saying goodbye to anybody,
That's
right?
funny.
But so it was all of those things that were happening. Then you have 9/11, and so the fear was it's going to really affect the economy tremendously. So what they decided to do is again put a lot of money into the system, go shopping, except for the fact that this time the housing market, as the the Bush administration understood, that the best way to flush money through the market was precisely through the housing market. It had nothing to do with that. I mean, listen, the stock market is going to benefit a group of people, you know what I mean? Especially sophisticated investors. If it's doing very well, then your 401k, 403b, all those things also will see a benefit. But again, going back to, I'm going to go buy more furniture. I'm going to go get a brand new car. That is you walking into your bank and they go, Alexi, we looked into your property. We can give you a line of credit for $250,000. What do I need to do? Just sign here. And money was so
Flowing.
available and
I'll take
flowing.
it.
And then the problem is that even if you said no, right?
Yeah.
Now you're going back home, your wife is in the house, he goes, did you realize that Lorena across the street
Yep.
just bought a new house?
I've seen it.
And then next day it's like, there was a full furniture truck that came in for for Nori next door, like everybody
Wait,
around
we're not
you.
together? Like, that's a problem. Stop this right now.
Everybody around you went shopping with the money that came out of the equity, right?
Yeah.
And those lines of credits and stuff like that. So that is what ended up taking us all the way up to 2008, 2009. This time around, by the way, listen.
So in a way, everybody got
we're saying we
blindsided.
had more access to information. We can go back and use these documentaries and all these things. But the fact of the matter is that you still have an incredible amount of people that are going through
That
by
are
the
not paying
same
attention.
level of denial.
Yeah.
Right, and then you have the other ones that they're not,
Getting blindsided.
and by
Not
the way,
paying
listen,
attention.
the whole happy-go-lucky, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, is like ignorance is a bliss, you know what I mean, and the fact of the matter is that some of these guys they just don't care. As long as I have a job and I can pay my bills, that's the extent of their financial concern. We hopefully somebody that will be able to be part of a conversation like this, even just by sharing the information we're
Yeah.
talking
Right,
about right now.
right.
So
Because otherwise, I promise you, if you think that the difference is gigantic compared to that moment to where it is today, it is so scary similar. On
I'm
terms
just
of-
wondering where the heads up happened, if it happened at all back then, and now, like, if it happened, who listened, who didn't listen,
Yeah,
who
I
benefited, who
mean,
didn't benefit.
I don't think it
versus-
happened nowhere near as much because now, obviously, I'm paying attention more now, but
Right.
I'm hearing about it now
Yeah,
from
yeah.
multiple experts. Hey, pay attention. This is
Yeah.
about to happen. I don't remember anything I don't
But
remember.
were you connected to the same sources of information? Because
No, but what I'm saying is even people who aren't connected are hearing about it now. You know, to where it is more readily available to where the average person have heard something within the last month or two. Hey, maybe it might make sense to save some money,
Well-
or maybe it might make sense to know that. You know, so I believe, at least from what I'm seeing, maybe it's because I'm in a different circle now, but
Yeah.
I feel like just like the general public is hearing more information about what's going on or about what they should or shouldn't do. Now, people are like you said, they're being in denial about it, but I think it's definitely, spoken about more.
Sources of information
Yeah.
also has changed.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have a lot. Not everybody's willing to go along with the narrative because listen, most of the traditional networks, you know what I mean, became complicit to that. Everything is okay. Don't worry about it. We up until the point
Wear a mask. Yeah.
up until the point that they couldn't hide it. You know what I mean? And so, but the average person was definitely not paying attention to today. Today, if you just pay enough attention to some of the information that's coming out of YouTube, you know what I mean? It's impossible to hide it to that level because at some point something is gonna pop up, and hopefully you're gonna see it. But I don't want you to think that it's really that much more.
Got it.
We still have the percentage of people that are not paying attention.
That's
And,
right.
and what you were saying about the car, listen. Depending on where you are, you know, if you weren't always in New York, having a car was really a luxury.
That's true.
Really, like if certain areas of New York, if you decided to purchase a car, where you park your car was probably more expensive than your rent in your apartment, you know, or the car payment
Yeah,
itself.
that's
You know,
true.
like
That's true, yeah.
I had a friend purchase a Corvette. The parking space
Mm-hmm.
was so expensive compared to the monthly payment that he literally, like, it was like coming.
Yeah.
Alexi, do me a favor.
Yeah.
So I know that you're in Staten Island,
Yeah.
right? Just take the car. I'll keep making the payments.
Wow.
You're driving. I just at that
crazy.
point, just think about it. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, I understand.
And if I need it,
But
like
we need a house in Staten
every
Island.
other
Is that
weekend,
what
you
you're
know what I mean?
saying?
Just let me
Yeah.
borrow it, like type of thing. Like the guy bought the car,
Yeah.
said you keep it, use it, and once in a while, if you
Yeah.
let me borrow it, that would be great enough.
Yeah. No.
That's
believe it,
now here though.
No,
Here,
it's
you need a car.
necessary,
You can't.
yeah.
This is not. That's
Car,
not a
you need a driver's
luxury,
license,
right?
you need a-
You need to.
No
you
Not even
need
a
to-
bicycle.
No bus.
Like
Absolutely.
no
Well, you can.
bicycle,
You
no.
can. If
I
I,
actually don't know
listen,
anybody
if
who-
I wait for the bus, I'm gonna develop a,
Yeah.
a real suntan waiting for
Yeah.
the next
Not
bus
just
to
the
arrive.
suntan,
No,
like,
we're
we
gonna
have
look. It's like you're gonna be like you're twinning with. Yeah, it's gonna go at that level.
Yeah,
So here's a
that's
necessity. Here, transportation system here. We still had a long way to go. We are heading in that direction, right? It's gonna have no choice. But here, car is not a luxury. So
Everything's
I understand
so
when it comes to
fun.
that
Yeah.
expense. If you don't like, what they're saying is not so much the things that is unavoidable. What they're really talking about is the stuff that
You
you
didn't need
should
to.
absolutely wait for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe this is
Got it.
not the best time for a Lamborghini. Maybe this is not the best time for a
Maybe
$2
get an
million
Audi,
property.
yeah.
Got it.
Maybe
get
this
a-
is, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is like go get a Casio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or type of watch.
Como Shakira? Yeah.
My
You
girl,
give up a
leave her
Rolex for a
alone.
Casio?
Don't drag
She
her
came up
into
with
this
another
shit,
song, by
though.
the way.
No
Oh my
way.
Midnight, yeah, sick.
Okay.
With Karol G, it was awesome. Anyway.
As soon as we're done with
Yeah, we'll leave.
I go for it. But
So last thing about this. So is it more important for somebody to not make these purchases or just have savings?
well, I think that the good news is that if you can somewhere somehow be a little more disciplined about these things and you can avoid doing unnecessary purchase, you automatically you'll find yourself
Yeah.
with some additional money that should be going
Yeah.
into savings, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the scary part, right? The purpose of this conversation is that the amount of debt
Yeah.
that's being accumulated out there right now is just astronomical,
Yeah.
especially compared to the amount of savings. This is probably one of the lowest percentage-wise, you know what I mean? If you're looking into the last 20 years, right? The lowest percentage of savings for the average American. And it's like, it's not just a question of, imagine if I'm paycheck to paycheck. I don't have an emergency fund.
Yeah.
I don't have any money that
Yeah.
can carry me So, and that's why we wanted to even volunteer some
And inflation is
recommendations
still
for
a very big factor here. So it's like
prices
people
are not going down.
tapping into their savings and
Yeah.
getting into debt just to
Prices
buy
are not going
eggs
down.
and buy
Correct.
yeah. So
And because
that's also something
because
that's there.
well, another thing I've realized, and I don't even know what's the I actually do know, but I don't know if we're gonna get into it. But I realize even forget the Lambo. There's people spending close to $800 a month for a Toyota nowadays.
for an Elantra.
Yeah, it's like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even understand. But this is happening more and more. You know, I sit down with people all the time where we're going over the finances. I'm like, wait a minute, what kind of car you drive? And you're paying close to $1,000 a month for your car. You know, so then in that
The
situation,
car, not even insurance.
yeah, they didn't. So no, I'm saying the car plus insurance. They'll be spending $1,000, right?
Yeah, but think about a
So
Toyota.
then-
Think about a Toyota
That's
Camry.
normal.
That's
Toyota
ridiculous.
Camry 1996.
Yeah,
That car was about $18,000. Actually, probably about $16,000.
Yeah.
Right. And there were dealerships in here that would be like running like crazy. You will see even prices of $13,000 when they were doing like those crazy
Gotcha.
rebates and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
President said.
How much is a Toyota Camry today?
close to 40.
It's about 40
Yeah,
grand.
and that's the
As a matter of
basic.
fact,
40,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
basic.
yeah,
That's what I was
yeah.
going to tell you.
Oh, no, that is like
40.
56.
Yeah.
As high as $43,000.
Yeah, easy.
So your payment out of $60,000, $16,000, yeah, it's $300.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now there's 43,000.
Yeah.
Now you're 7, 8, 9. And
Correct.
if your credit is not perfect,
Yeah, it's even more.
it's even worse.
And the reason why I'm highlighting this is because when people hear, "Oh, don't make a major purchase," you need to have savings. Because what if I was like, okay, I'm not going to go and buy a Lambo. Let me just buy something small like a Toyota. But now, if $1,000 a month is going towards your vehicle, how much money are you saving at that point? You know, so it's like there's a lot of people where I think the percentage of how much money they're bringing in is going towards certain things. I think it's off.
There's two things that I wish I would have taken a lot more seriously
Yeah.
when I was. One of them I did almost by accident, out of necessity, which is to learn how to make money.
Yeah.
I think that everybody right now, because to be quite honest with you, when you're asking, because savings alone, right?
Yeah, you say you learn how to make money by accident.
Sure.
That doesn't happen.
Well,
Not by accident.
more
What?
out of necessity. More out of necessity. You know what I mean?
Okay,
The
I
necessity
got you.
was so high that it was driving me, and to me, you know, I would love to tell you that, you know, there was an incredible blueprint, and I knew exactly what was
Oh,
going to
I
take.
see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
No,
It
the
wasn't systematic.
drive
It was
was
just,
exactly the
Yeah.
drive
Pure
was
heart.
the whole willing and able, right?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just willing
Right.
because the necessity was so high that led me to, oh, okay, so I can do this, I can try that, I can. Oh, this one didn't work. Oh, I lost some money here. Let me say,
Let's go
and you
this way.
go
Got it,
right,
got it,
and
got it.
so, but the second thing though is not you. There's a misguided idea about also the concept of savings. Once you get to a specific dollar amount that you can say, you know what I mean, obviously ideal, 6 months of my expenses in an emergency fund, right? But then after
Quick
that,
access to it, I can go.
every penny coming in should go into some type of investment.
No, I agree.
100%.
I agree.
Is the
Yeah, yeah.
only way that's
Yeah.
going to help you keep up with
Gotcha.
inflation.
Yes.
Just savings alone. That's something. If you know savings alone, without you knowing how to make more money when you need to, and without knowing how to
Yeah.
make some money through investment,
Yeah.
it's not gonna. Because
Yeah.
how do you? If the bank is paying you 1%,
0.0
Yeah.
Nothing
It'll
percent.
take you 10,000 years.
and right now the cost of inflation was
Yeah.
reduced
Yeah.
to 6.5%.
Yeah, still
I
a lot.
agree.
Your money is being
Correct.
diluted.
And so to I
You're
guess-
losing money just by having the
Correct,
money there.
Correct. So to be more specific, it's less about saving money
Correct.
versus lowering your expenses
1,000%.
so that now you can actually spend the money in the right way. And I want to be specific like that on purpose just because I think a lot of times we can waste money on things we don't even realize we're wasting money on. And it's like, so then now it's like, okay, I'm
I think we
thinking
know.
about
I think we know. We just spoil a little bit. I think. Listen, it's very. Again,
that
listen.
happens.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
good times create weak people.
Naomi Parks, right? Everybody, we know this young lady coming from North Korea, and they were definitely concerned about different things. That they just
Yeah,
wanted
that's
to eat.
Yeah.
We need to lose weight. You know what I mean? We are concerned about how do I handle the diet, right? I
That's
mean,
true,
what
that's
kind
true.
of diet are you on right now? What kind of
I got 3 gym
and they were
memberships, by the
saying, diet? What do you mean you're in a diet? I just need some rice or something.
I'm
right?
happy to
So
see
unhappy with-
potatoes.
So I think we know to an extent, you know what I mean, that it was not a good idea to go purchase this or to go purchase that. And, sadly enough, we still doing it because
Yeah.
there's access to money there. You know what I mean? So, but listen, for everybody that's paying attention to this conversation, especially if you're going to be doing something housing, cars, not that complicated when it comes to the housing market. You know what I mean? You can look at the lowest point of the market.
Yeah.
Then you can see, as a matter of fact, it's a beautiful thing to witness.
Yeah.
You can see how much money it actually accrue in terms of value and the equity that was built into that
Where do
property.
you go, Zillow?
But no, actually, I would.
Realtor.com?
My recommendation is you can go to property Orange for us here, right? For us, I would say the Orange County property appraisers. You know what I mean? That will give you
Write
a
that down.
very good valuation. It's public information.
Yeah, but that's Orange County. That's like here.
Yeah, but just about every county,
Every
you know what I
county
mean,
has it.
will have something similar, you know what I mean, and there's a lot of things that can give you, but that's one of those things that can be very accurate in terms of what the history of the property has. So
Got it.
that's what you want to see. You want to see, okay, what was the lowest point? What was the highest point? Where is it today?
Right.
And that will tell you, is it a good idea? Is it a good purchase? So
Gotcha.
you can
Yeah.
move on with the whole thing.
Very good.
But anyway, guys, I want to cover something a little different, you know what I mean, which is we're looking at, we mentioned before the amount of people that are getting laid off, especially,
Yeah.
we were just talking about the technology sector, right?
Correct.
It's super talking about that, right? It's super scary to see just that many people out of one single sector that's not including many other areas that we can go into.
Yes.
But but can I tell you what I know and I remember taking place in 2008 was the people are being so, listen, we're letting you go and just go through HR so you can get your pack. Whatever it is that you were going to do, there was no real exit strategy. There was nobody guiding you about what to do next, what you need to be doing. By the way, the purpose of me saying this and opening up this little side of the conversation is not for people to wait until they actually get laid off. If you feel there is any possibility, any potential risk of you being on the chopping line and you can get laid off, there's a few things that I think you should be doing right now.
Yeah.
So, any recommendation, guys?
So it's funny because I'm thinking about it's the machines, guys. They're taking over the world. I don't know if you realize it.
Stop
You better get out of here quick. Go. No. But seriously.
It's the first automatic McDonald's, completely automatic in Fort Worth, Texas.
my
Fort
gosh.
Worth, Texas.
So
yeah.
what my recommendation is, you just got to pay attention, and it's messed up because I think we think everybody knows, but people don't pay attention. So here's what I would be thinking of: if I have a job where there's a machine doing my job right next to me, I need to know that I'm at risk of losing my job, right? and I'm being so serious.
That's illegal.
No, because think about it. Walmart, right?
Yeah.
It used to be where there was 20 cashiers, right?
Correct.
Now there's one cashier and a
And
bunch of
like
machines,
20 machines.
right? But the person
I
who's
refuse to
working,
self-pay on any supermarket.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
me
Yeah,
too.
I was like, I don't
Like-
work for the Walmart unless you're gonna give me
Yeah.
a discount
I-
for doing well.
100%.
In
Yeah.
addition to
Yeah.
that, I'm like, hey, you
But
need to be nicer.
I don't know if the person who's working there.
Pay me. I'm working to
Correct,
do my own groceries.
Correct. I don't know if the person is working there realizes that the machine is going to take
That's
their
what
job.
Bingo. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
get what I'm
that's
saying?
I mean.
And that's the thing. So any cashier, anything that's customer service,
Yeah.
a lot of those jobs are going to disappear real soon. And it's not a bad thing, honestly. I think the world is going to be better because of the things that are happening. It's going to allow us to do things that are more important. But at the same time, if you don't realize this is happening, while that transition is happening, it's like you're the person who works at Blockbuster while they're all going out of
Oh,
business.
no.
It's like, no, buy VHS. It's like, no, right?
Criticizing DVDs.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
it. Like, who,
But or even worse,
was
watch
sending it in
this.
the mail?
You could be the person who's like, no, I got a great idea. We're gonna do this thing called Redbox, not realizing Netflix is gonna knock you out in a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think it's just important for people to pay attention. Like I said, customer service jobs, anything where a machine can replace you, it probably will.
So-
you know.
Okay, so that.
Yes.
So what to do? Here's what I would say, right?
Yep.
Here's the checklist. Number one, learn a new skill. Number two, find an industry that is actually in need of leadership, that has issues right now, that you have the opportunity to say, okay, can my new level of skills give me the opportunity to become somebody in this industry, whatever that industry may be? For me, I'll go back to it because it changed my life. Learn sales. Learning sales puts you in a position where you can sell yourself so that you can get hired anywhere and beat the competition out that way if you want to go in the job route. And the last one is, which is the reason why my wife and I decided to make a transition, because she was one of those people in the chopping block.
Yeah.
One day she sends me a text message from an ale house, and I'm like, what's going on? Aren't you supposed to be at work? And she's like, they let me go today. So it's a very scary position to be in. And one of the things that
She
we
said,
decided
remember you
is,
wanted to do lunch?
yeah,
I'm open.
available. No, I was working, by the way. I was working back then.
Oh,
I remember
man.
exactly when I got the text message back in those phones. That was it was a very shitty quality picture of chicken wings, but I knew exactly where she was. I was at my old job, but my point to you is that we decided to go into entrepreneurship because I said I never want to be in a position where somebody else has control of my income. And as long as you have a job, then you do that. So if you don't want to become an entrepreneur because you're saying I'm not a good number one, I don't know how to run the risk, I don't know how to do that, become a very good salesperson so that you have the opportunity to get a better position and get a job faster. If that's the route that you want to go. But definitely pick up a new skill and look at industries that are actually starting up, that need leadership or that are struggling.
I think that everybody go
I
ahead.
got one more thing too. Just to piggyback on what you're saying is, I think everybody needs a side hustle. Everybody needs a way that they
100%.
can make money outside of the
I think
normal.
it's a lot more acceptable today, though, than it was. If we were having this conversation 10, 15 years, like, what do you mean you need a high value job? Yeah, I have a, if anything,
loyal to Xerox.
it's almost,
No. Yeah. So I think it would be ridiculous for you to only be making money with the regular
one single
9 to
source.
5 job. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Unless it's your business. One single source, your business, pour everything into your business.
But that's
But
not
a job
that's
is a
not
different
that's
thing.
different. That's what I'm saying.
But even that eventually opens the door to some level of investments, to some
Correct.
level of
Right,
so
right.
you'll
Correct.
find yourself with different multiple sources of income. For me, guys, listen. One of the things that you got to
Sorry, I just want to clarify because I don't wanna be like also. Well, I'm a realtor, I'm a notary, I'm a nurse, well, not a nurse, but it's like you have like 15 different things and you master none. That's also not
true.
healthy because you
Correct.
end up not.
Yeah.
No, I got it.
So
And
specialized
that-
versus generalized.
And that makes a lot of sense. But I think that the first thing that you want to look into is, especially if you want to, because some people actually do want to stay, they want to stay in the job market.
Right,
Like, I don't want to
100%.
try
And
the
there's
whole
nothing wrong with that.
entrepreneur thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I hear you, American dream, and go on something, go develop your own business. But I'm not that guy. I just want to go do my job. So I get it. Let me start with that person, right? Listen, update your resume. Update your resume. You know what I mean? Just you want to start looking around into like some of the other potential industries that don't suffer as much. The so high highs and low lows. You know,
yeah.
become a little familiar with what's going on with your 401k. What will happen the moment that you move out? Like, where will you go? What can you do? And by the way, is there anything that you can do right now to find a way to make sure that it's not losing so much money? Right? The whole variable concept. If the market is going to be dropping, then you obviously run the risk of losing money.
To indexing.
Yeah. In addition to that, something as simple as becoming familiar with even staffing agencies. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, what industry? Where do you work? Like, you want to start looking into these things, like I said, ahead of time, not waiting into the very, very last minute.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because now, what you were saying also, if somebody's going to take this step to say, you know what, maybe I'm going to allow myself to be recruited into something. Maybe I'm going to really take some baby steps into a very specific industry. And there's always somebody recruiting for, real estate, which I don't know if you want to go into that route right now. But whatever, mortgages, for us, was life insurance.
5
was,
realtors per
you know
house
what I mean?
being sold right now.
Yeah. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one in a good market. You know what I mean? Because there's the amount of realtors compared to the amount of properties, it's very significant. It's very large, right? But more than anything else, what you want to look for is for the industries that will have a lot more consistency, which ended up becoming a factor for me and my family making
Right,
the
you
choice
made a
to be
transition.
to
So
be
you were
able
in
to.
real estate before.
I spent many years in real estate, made a ton of money, lost a lot of money, made a ton of money again, and it's just the whole high, low eventually it's not just a question of getting tired of the whole high. It's just that there is a moment where you actually want to stop, and you playing that high, low type of moment, and you don't have a real good crystal ball ahead of you, and you're saying, man, next year, 2 years from now, honey, we're ready, guys, we moving, and next thing you know, the market betrays you, the economy betrays you, right? Because it's part of a financial cycle.
Yeah.
So look for industries. We transition to this side of it precisely because of the consistency.
What other industries that you look into? Because you said you looked into
I have
a
my
few.
favorite one.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's
Which
your
one is your
favorite
favorite?
So if you're gonna go into business, obviously finance is number one. But if you're gonna get a regular job, healthcare to me is the best.
Healthcare.
Why
Okay.
people are always gonna need healthcare,
Especially in the state of Florida.
Yeah, they're always gonna need healthcare. You can get a guaranteed job no matter where you go with those type of skills. You can make somewhat decent money, if you pick the right type of healthcare professional. But to me, that's the best regular job would be connected to something like that.
1,000%.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean, I think that, and I agree with you. I think that even if you're doing the job side of it, you want to look into something that has high demand, a lot of consistency,
Yeah.
and yes, anything related to the health sector. Is very high demand, and it's also decently paid. You know what I mean, it's just that again, you got to develop a new set of skills.
Correct.
Well, I mean,
Business
the
in the business side. In the business side, though, listen, I looked into taxes many years
You
ago.
did. Okay.
The interesting thing about taxes is that you see people that have a relationship with taxes where either they love taxes or they hate taxes, right?
I hate taxes.
And there you go. There you go. Right?
We agree.
Yes.
So you have an entrepreneurs that were going to that industry, into that side of the market, and they doing it because they say, if I can develop a decent sized book of clients, I will make money with consistency,
true.
right? And then I can also venture out into different things, right? But the development process, I know people that went into
painful.
taxes and say, "How was your first year?" "Oh, I did okay. I did about 38 people." I know that it's okay, all right, so you lost money. I don't want to say that, but I
Couldn't
know
pay
it's
rent.
if you're not somewhere in your first year already at
That's what I was thinking,
285 to 300 people, that at that point you made a little bit of money, you made some money. But you got to get to the 400s, 500s. The moment that you get to 600 to 700 people, you're making some money. And now then, listen, think about New York, right? The average accounting house, and I'm not talking about a professional CPA that is I'm talking about a guy who's doing taxes. He's been doing it for a while, right?
Yeah.
And that guy is 3, 4, 5,000 clients on their book of business, right? That's their portfolio. In here, I mean, obviously, the state of Florida is behaving. We doesn't have those numbers yet, right? We're gonna have one city that, but you see people with 600, 700, 1,000 clients, and those guys are doing very well. So that was an industry that I looked into. I didn't like the growing the business. You know what I mean? Getting to $1 million of income, it's something that requires a significant size investment.
So you had to put a lot of money
You
into
got to
it.
put a lot of money, but because if you're not growing it, the only other choice that you have is to do it through acquisitions. Meaning, if you're gonna step out, I'm gonna buy your book of clients, right?
Okay.
And hopefully I get to retain
Yeah.
a percentage, and I gotta keep somebody that was already. So that is a significant investment, I can do it the other way, which is I don't put the money out, but I got it. Then it'll take me 2, 3, 4,
longer.
5 years to get to what I can get on my first year just by buying somebody's book of clients. You know what I mean? But that requires us. Listen, guys, is buying a McDonald's opposed to let me open
That's true, big
my
difference.
own little burger facility that hopefully eventually I can franchise myself. But right now, if I have $1 million, I'm going for the McDonald's franchise because it's gonna make me money right away, right? And so those are the things. And for me, then it was insurance, right? Insurance. Listen, insurance is boring, but it's one of the most. And I mean,
We don't make it boring.
well, not for us, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's a
we
sport.
found a way to. Yeah, it's a sports, it's competition. It's fun, it's noise, it's events, it's activities, and all of those things that make it into. By the way, not everybody likes that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some
that's
people is like, listen, I like boring a little bit, right? So, but it also goes back to how much money you want to make, right? If somebody went and they got a license to say, I'm good with $50,000, $60,000, you can make that just about anywhere with that license. You know what I mean? But if you're saying, I need to be $250,000, $500,000, I need to be $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm capable to get there, right? You're looking for a platform that's going to allow you there to get there. But insurance has so many different faces also, right? You have
Yeah, it
the
does.
health side of it, of insurance.
Oh, yeah, no.
And then, the fact that what I don't like about it is that you're chasing the same client over and
PNC.
over again. PNC, which is really dying, right? Because that was
Geico is
one of the areas of insurance. Insurance. I don't know if you remember when this
Flow.
thing came out in the market. It's like it was such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like I remember calling into Progressive, and a guy called me back saying, "I'm so and so from insurance," and I'm like, "Who?" And he said, "Yeah, we don't, we don't have a brick and mortar location and so and so." And then like, he gave me the whole rundown
Yeah.
about what was going on. I hung up the phone and I remember saying to myself, "Wait a minute, this guy actually I called Progressive. A guy called me who is under the official name of another company, but that other company is actually owned by Progressive. So essentially, you have a company that created another company to compete with his own agents."
Oh, wow.
That
Not
really
just
sucks.
with the marketplace.
Wow.
Insurance today is one of the most profitable
Wow.
aspects of Progressive insurance. Although,
Can I tell you though, like when it comes to
so I didn't want to be
stuff-
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can we were actually speaking to, we were in Fort Myers yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We have one of our girls is actually setting up a facility. We have a team that is growing out of there.
Yeah.
And she's saying, I don't like the fact that we had somebody that came in invited, and it's like, I don't like the fact that when I speak to my insurance person, like they're somewhere in their house or they're somewhere,
Correct.
and I don't have the opportunity to connect with them.
Correct.
And I think I guess on the PNC side and on the health side, it's a very transactional thing. But on the life insurance side, there's got to be a connection. There's got to be a kneecap to kneecap kitchen table presentation and stuff
The
like that.
best products in the market and the best products that are going to produce the best possible results really require an in-person
Planning.
type of
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I mean? It's just, yeah, even for the people that are out there, doing it through, I'm going to call you, I'm buying leads and I'm doing that. I can assure you that most of the times, there's some kind of limitation to how that product was
100%.
presented because it's quick. Let's try to, what do you need? How much can you afford? And that
Very
usually is
transactional.
not, again, more transactional and not so much relationship. But listen, the point with all of these guys is that just don't wait, right? That's all start
get you.
doing certain
Yeah,
things.
something
It's
else.
super
Don't get
important
caught
for
with your
people.
pants down.
Yeah, it's super important for people to start moving in the right directions, to start taking action. Unfortunately, that's one of the things that we see taking place. So hopefully this will give people some.
And to give someone like what an actual thing you can do
Right.
is the great thing about things like taxes or insurance. You don't have to have $1 million to go set up your own facility just to see what it is, or to see if you
Go,
connect
learn
with
it,
the industry.
understand if you
you
can-
can
yeah.
literally start doing both either insurance or taxes literally in like a week,
Yeah.
and then get started and like, okay, I like this. I can
Yeah.
make money. I can learn the industry.
And even if you're buying the software yourself and
Yep.
you're setting up a legal location somewhere,
Correct.
you can probably do that with under $10,000.
So it's a simple setup. It's a simple startup. So I like both of those,
Yeah.
just because you don't have to have $100,000 or $1 million to get
I'm
it
with
started.
you.
Yep,
I'm with
yep.
you.
So I
But
like
it
it.
really is a game of attraction,
Yep.
and you got to proactively go out there
Yeah.
to get those
Learn how to
clients to
hunt.
come in because
Yep.
the competition. Everybody has a cousin of a cousin of a cousin who's doing taxes.
That's
You know what I mean?
true.
So competition is heavy.
Well, crazy. I'm sorry. Yesterday
no.
we had a meeting, and I'm with this lady, and this lady said, "This is great, but make sure that you become not this tax professional. Just so you know, if you want to be into taxes."
Okay.
This lady says, "My husband makes too much money. My tax person advised me not to work."
Oh wow!
Because if I work too much, then we go into the next tax
Oh,
bracket.
my
that
and I
tax
literally
person is probably
almost
her
like,
best friend or something like that.
I was gonna
Listen.
say, I'm like, who are you doing taxes with? And can I go personally and slap them? Why on
crazy.
earth would you keep yourself in a position of, like, in a disadvantaged position? They're doing okay, but they're not necessarily in
Yeah.
a place where they can be like, they could be doing so much better.
Yeah.
And she
They don't
doesn't work not because she wants to stay home with the kids, but because she wants to keep her taxes low.
Correct.
And I'm like,
The thing is that what most people don't understand
It's
is that
crazy.
once you start making the transition from being an employee to an entrepreneur, you're absolutely
Open
going to
a
have
window.
a lot of things
Yep.
that you're going to be able to write off.
that's precisely the
Because
what it's over,
you know,
yeah.
so I don't know if
Yeah.
that
It's
a
like-
person
like, fire your tax
was that making
professional.
a recommendation to
Yeah.
say, why don't you embrace some kind of professional licensing or
right.
something that would allow you to, then you can write off everything, including some not all of it, some of the coffee you drink, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, guys, with that being said, I hope, you know what I mean, this is something helpful. You know, people, guys, start networking, get to know
Make some
what's out
friends.
there, come out, be proactive. Don't wait for things to happen. Make them happen
Correct.
for you and your family. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So,
Yeah.
final thing that I want to, guys, I just want to touch on a couple of things. We had multiple conversation about what's going on the border, immigration. January 5th, an agreement took place again between all the countries that most people have to travel through to get to United States. When we're talking about immigration, remember the crisis that's going on the border right now. It's something that we see that it's just not getting better. You know what I mean? It's just it really it appears that some of the simple solutions that happen to be available there, it's almost like nobody wants to embrace that. And again, you want to understand what is the political and economic reason why we cannot embrace solutions that are just common sense solutions. But January 5th, there is an agreement again that takes place between the United States, the Biden administration, and just about every country, right? Mexico, Guatemala, and any of these places. By the way, what the purpose of the agreement is to say we are actually going to start, deporting a significant amount of people. As a matter of fact, at the highest level, it can
This
be.
is President Biden,
This is the Biden administration. We're
the
gonna
guy that
start-
ran on pro-immigration.
on pro-immigration. We're gonna start deporting to the tune of 30,000 people on a daily basis, right? But by the way, we had at
We
the
have a bunch of
highest
people coming in.
20,000 people coming in today.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
obviously, what they want to do is
It's just
the-
ship
the-
them right back.
But there's a big difference between you slowing down immigration and just plainly deporting the
Mm-hmm. Right.
same people that you told them that it was okay to come. It's like me inviting you for dinner. And then
Kicking
time.
you
And
out.
be like, get out!
Like, what are you doing?
Leave the food here.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
out.
yeah. And so and how dare you came to top it off, right? Not only that, it's not even a good forget it. Yeah, no, it's worse than that, because I'm not just saying get out, I'm throwing you out.
Yeah.
That's completely different, you know what I mean? And so
Like cartoon, like go boot in the.
the language, including Haiti, Venezuela, people from Cuba, which is kind of weird to hear that those are certain countries that were completely locked in, meaning you came here, you more than likely were going to have the chance to stay in the country, right? But you're 100% correct, right? That this is an administration that ran into a pro-immigration stand, right? And right now what we have is a mess that is beyond proportion.
Well, sorry, but that isn't that the same thing that Obama did? Obama deported more people,
people.
during his administration than Trump did,
Well, so here's another thing that just happened on Tuesday.
because Trump was anti-immigration.
Correct. No, but it's different though. What Trump managed to do is he managed
No,
to.
he wants to manage the thing properly.
He managed to slow down the amount of people coming to the border. Right? That is different than, hey, come!
And we'll kick you
Now
out
I'm
in a
throwing
minute.
you out.
Yeah.
Right? And so for anybody, especially for the Latin American community that keeps falling for this idea that this is a more compassionate,
It's not.
that what they're doing is so inhumane, and again, it's a
Yep.
political game that
I created the cages.
should be like you got to be held accountable at the highest level. Listen, this now is being extended. Last Tuesday,
Stop listening to Jorge Ramos. No le preste atención.
1,000%.
It's
He
like
does,
that guy
it's
is
done
full of
more
shit.
damage to the Latin community.
Yeah.
That's not even funny.
Getting
But
brainwashed.
the asylum seekers right now that again cross the border, whether you were legal or illegal, meaning however it was done. Certain countries, Cuba, Venezuela, Haiti, automatically you were granted some kind. As a matter of fact, you are familiar with the process.
Of course, yeah.
How does it work when somebody like literally, if you came in from Venezuela, somebody prior to this law, because this is going to change how all of that works.
Okay.
But prior to this law, what was the process?
So
for people?
if you are from Venezuela or one of those countries that we
Cuba,
mentioned, Haiti, or Cuba,
Nicaragua,
well, actually, Cuba's a little bit different. I don't know if I think they changed it, where the moment you touch American soil, like you basically become
That's going to be affected by the new law.
a permanent resident, basically.
Yeah.
But for everybody else, you actually go and you submit your asylum application. The moment that you do that, within 6 months, you have the opportunity to have a driver's license, you have a social security number, and you have a temporary employment authorization card. So that gives you the opportunity that as you're waiting your time before you go present your case in front of a judge, you can actually work, you can actually, sustain your family, you can actually put your kids in school and all of that stuff. And then when you go into the, in front of the judge decides whether your case is valid and you are approved for the asylum. At that moment, you actually get a green card. Well, not right there and then, but you enter the process where you get a permanent residency that is conditional, but it's still a permanent residency. And then if it's declined, then you have the opportunity to fight it out and stuff like that. But your employment authorization, appeal it. Yeah, there you go. And so you have the opportunity, but your employment authorization will still continue to, as you're fighting it out, until they said, no, you really don't qualify. What are you doing here? They'll kick you out. But the majority of the cases, especially coming from those countries, unless it's somebody that in Venezuela we call him enchufado, the majority of them, they actually get approved. It's just a matter of so many cases right now, you're unable to get approved fast enough. So I have friends of mine that have been waiting to be approved for like the past, literally 6 years. 7 years, and they haven't been able to get in front of a judge.
Yeah.
So for many people, is having an underground identity, underground economy. It's almost, like it's just the system is not able to, and obviously COVID.
Well, not if you get your employment authorization and stuff like that, which is everybody else is a little bit different though.
So here's what this law is supposed to do, right? For the people that actually have the ability, just for some specific countries.
5th.
Yeah, no, not January 5th is just the amount of people that they are looking to start deporting right now, right? Which that combined with this also law that they passed, this law essentially is going to so-called replace a little bit of what Title 42 was supposed to be doing, right? But now remember, Title 42 was there for health reasons.
Right.
Now we're saying 100%. We just have a crisis when it comes to the border. By the way, who created the crisis, right?
Yeah.
So they're saying that now this law will give United States the opportunity to challenge your request for asylum.
Okay. Why?
Regardless of where you're coming from, especially if you came into the country illegally. So if you showed up through legal means, meaning you jump on a plane and you had a visa, you were coming to, and you decided at that point that will give you a higher level of rights to be able to go through the process of asylum, opposed to if you were swimming across the border, right? They actually have the ability to add you to that list of people that will be sent back and deported, and they will potentially have the right, depending on whatever additional aggravations, it's not fully out yet, to be able to send you out. It's going to go into effect May 11. These two things combined will put the Biden administration into the administration that will end up deporting more people than the last 5-6 presidents combined.
Probably, yeah. That's I don't understand this. How hypocritical is that, though? Seriously.
He was playing. What was he playing when he came out playing Despacito? And I I don't remember that painful moment when he was literally and the whole we are
Jill Biden saying
we are a nation of immigrants. We are a nation of phenomenal job.
Nation that deports
and by the way, phenomenal job for people that just want to believe whatever the hell they want to believe into. Listen, the reality is different.
Yeah. And
I wonder. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but the big problem with this is when you limit somebody's ability to do the right thing, it's almost like you're forcing them to do something that's not going to be correct. Because if I have no ability to work, then what am I going to do? I'm going to be forced to work illegally or do some type of criminal activity.
No, but that's happening.
But what I'm saying is
but in the asylum side of it, right?
Yeah,
If I was here And all I have to say is identify myself,
Yeah.
right? And I can start the
case,
process that
yeah.
you just described right now, right? But now it's being said that I'm running the risk of being thrown out. Guess
well,
what?
I'm not going
I am going to stay in that
Yeah,
underground
100%.
economy
Yeah.
up until the point that somebody figures out
So
how
it's
do I.
creating
how
a
do-
bigger problem.
it's-
Yeah.
but again, you know what I mean? That has always been the case. No solution.
Mismanagement of the whole thing.
Yes, yes.
It's so hypocritical though. Like how can you be that person that comes in and runs for that and then all of a sudden you create the laws that punish the hardest for something that why don't actually make a system what you said is I just don't understand how why don't they come up with as
It's too much of a simple solution.
it's too simple is that, what it
well,
is?
is that politically? First of all, you know, there's a group of people that say, hell no, we're not gonna privatize, the immigration
But
process.
why?
Because it's not politically, it doesn't serve the narrative of so many people. People that are already suspicious of the private industry, people that don't want this to be now part of something that will fall into the concept of capitalism. You know, when I'm making the reference about armed forces or the army, I can even be more specific from the actual private side. I know that today, you know, the left and Democrats in general had become extremely unfriendly towards a guy like Elon Musk, right? So I'm not gonna put a genius into the mix because that would probably become a little too offensive for some people. But what about a Jeff Bezos, who ended up putting together one of the most impressive distribution systems the country has ever seen as a company? I think that guy, Jeff Bezos, will have the capability to create an immigration flow that will be so well done and so helpful to first of all, the whole human tragedy that we're witnessing and the disasters taking place out there, that will disappear. That will be eliminated. But the flow that will benefit the country, our country, will benefit from the right people coming in at the right time to do the right things.
Sure,
you know
be
what I mean?
efficient.
You know what I mean? And so, but again, there is no political gain for some people, and there are some people that are truly against it just because, again, will fall into private sector, private market. Needless to say, it's a big budget, and listen. There's a few things that we can say about not wanting to surrender the control, not wanting to surrender the political narrative, but it is incomprehensible that after this many years, we it's like we're going backwards. I've seen this movie every 6 years, every other administration that makes a promise, they don't keep it, they don't make it better.
They make it worse.
And then in this case, we
Yeah.
can again, we can literally say it, they found a way to make it worse. No real solution, right? And so, but with that being said, you know, I mean, again, I'm hoping that that somebody like at that level of Jeff Bezos that has the capability to put something together from a listen, just propose a plan. I'm pleading with you, Jeff Bezos. I'm pleading with you. Put a plan together. Take it to the government. If you don't want to do it yourself, if you're at this point you're saying, listen, that's not a fight that I want to get in, take it to government. Look at what's going on the border. I'm asking you, like just have a little bit of mercy and pay attention to what's going on in the border. What's happening to women and children is undescribable. You don't need to go to Africa anymore to see horrible things taking place. It's happening right there, inhumane conditions. Put a plan together. You know, bring it to some people that absolutely will have the capability to do something. I think that would be a very good first step.
So for me, here's the last thing that I would say. If you or your family, come from the Hispanic heritage, whether you're Venezuelan, Mexican, Colombian, whatever it is, really pay attention to who you're voting for. Really pay attention to who are the people that you're making the choices, because a lot of people make a lot, and I know that we're used to or the presidents or government not keeping their promises. But one thing is not keeping the promises. The other thing is like saying something and making it worse. And so, that just is really hurtful. You know for a fact that like I was at some point very aligned with the Democratic Party, with the left. And little things like this continue to happen, and I'm like, why are you telling me that you're supposed to be helping me when you're really not really helping me? You're actually hurting me. So if you feel like that, and if you don't feel like that and you don't realize that it's happening to you, please look into it. You don't have to take our word for it. Please look into it. But that's my invitation for everybody. And by the way, I don't know if you want me to throw something out there. I'm about to throw Alexi under the bus or something. I can throw you under the bus. It's like I asked, because you outed me, right?
Yes.
It was very easy.
Yes.
Why don't we out Alexi?
No, so what's the story with Alexi?
What's
I don't know. I don't know. This is a story.
What's that?
I didn't know that was a story.
Oh my God, there's gonna be.
We are taking
I didn't know this was
applications.
breaking news. Dude. No one dropped off any papers. Dude.
We are
There
taking
is no
applications.
breaking news. You're gonna be taking applications after this.
Podcasted. So found out who was still a registered Democrat.
Look,
So
I
that was a big
enjoy
issue.
seeing both sides of the
Okay.
aisle. I like confusing myself a little bit.
And you are registered
I'm not registered as any. Yeah.
with anybody.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Ask the following
I'm not
question.
registered with
Ask
anyone.
the second question.
Yeah.
Shall we assume that you're going to,
Do you
Gonna-
vote?
No. I don't say I don't. I don't like it. I don't do it all the time. If there is somebody who I believe in, and I'm like, no, I want this person to win, then I will. But I'm not gonna say, okay, if I don't like this person, I don't like this person. We're gonna just pick the one that is the best of the
But you-
worst.
the least of both
Yeah.
evils?
And if anything, what I always believe it in, more even important than like the president is what's happening on a local level.
100%.
But no, traditionally, no. It's not like I don't feel obligated to.
So I would-
But somebody
vote
has
in
a lot
different
of
ways.
opinions
Yeah,
about
yeah,
things.
No, listen,
It's like,
but by the way, I appreciate you,
Yeah.
you sharing that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It is as personal and as private as it gets. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But the fact of the matter is that, listen, sometimes we're looking for the right person. But sometimes you got to be asking yourself the question: is this the right time
I agree.
where
I
my
agree.
participation is needed? So I see it from that perspective,
Yeah.
and then I also say, if I don't do anything or if I don't take action, it goes back to that the shot I was not willing to take. You know?
Yeah, so it's because of what you was just talking about. Someone can make a bunch of promises and then do the exact opposite, of what. And then so at the end of the day, you never really know because you can pick what you thought was the best person, and then all of a sudden they do nothing of what they said they were.
But I don't
gonna
think
do.
that's the case
You know,
anymore, though. I think that what is coming across like clearly is that the people that are blatantly lying to people, breaking promises,
Yeah, true.
are the Democrats. I didn't want to. Before I wanted to be as. Let me be a little bit. Let me be as pragmatic as I can possibly be, and as no, like I don't listen. When things like this are happening, my tolerance for that level of lying and I can't handle
Yeah,
that. I can't because again, I this is not something that I read on a newspaper.
Yeah.
I seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
So when I look at the numbers and I remember what was taking place there, you know what I mean? Then I'm
So-
this is just
So
not.
what did Trump? Because I'm willing to, like I said, I like confusing myself. I
yes.
like to see both sides of the
Yeah.
equation. So this guy is doing that. Tell me, what's the equivalent of what the Trump guy did?
If you
Because he's
make it so clear that your process is you're gonna make it the most difficult process for somebody to come. It's like we're gonna chase you by the time you get there. If you make it so clear that you're actually gonna make it very difficult for somebody to, what you do is you manage to slow down the amount of people that came in. He was able to do that successfully, and he also was able to do that through Title 42, right? Managed,
So-
but this guy's again is the invitation to dinner.
So I understand, but what I'm trying to get to is because yes, you make clear opposition where you're gonna slow down. Did he do anything specifically for the people that were crossing or something like that was gonna hurt them in a way that this new law is gonna be hurting people?
No,
Like what
well,
did he do?
Well, Title 42 was considered something that was manipulative enough to be an anti-immigrant. The problem is that again, through health, if you were forcing me to wear a mask
Right.
in an airplane, then guess what? That's also fair game, right?
Right.
But
But this is
They managed to do something at this level where they were deporting that many people on a daily basis?
Yeah,
No.
no.
Did they manage to actually successfully get to the point where they actually going to be changing the asylum process law for asylum
crazy.
seekers?
That's crazy.
Not even Donald Trump did that. Not even this is the guy who's accused of being Hitler Jr.
Right.
Didn't get to do something like that. So here we have the
But-
so-called more compassionate party,
That is not.
more compassionate president who's going to actually do something that's going to go far beyond what the previous guy ended
By the
up
way,
doing.
this guy extended Title 42 how many times?
Yeah, well, it also he was forced by in all fairness also to the
Okay,
to
fair.
the,
I'm just trying to
the Biden
understand
administration. Like first of all, they wanted to extend it multiple times, and at some point, it is Supreme Court.
says we can't.
they said, no,
We gotta go- we gotta make
this
a
is what it
decision.
is. It's ending.
So this was the
you got to
decision
come
they
up with
came up
something.
with.
So that's what they came up with
That's
because
not
at
okay.
that very moment, there really was no plan. There was really the whole thing is they were advocating for something. And at the end, when they were confronted with, okay, listen, how about you've been complaining about that law? You called it inhumane, you called it abusive, you called it.
Make it better.
Let it expire. What do you propose to do? And I'm like, well, how about we extend it a little bit because now we have so many people. They were invited to dinner, right? You told them we are a more humane approach. We are a
You're gonna
nation
have
of
food.
immigrants.
We're
We're gonna treat you in a
Yeah,
different way.
yeah.
Guess what? Everybody was coming in with T-shirts saying "Take President Biden," and like it was a
Just-
like
no, for real.
seriously,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there were
Yeah.
people that, and so I find this to be extremely. That's what I'm.
So-
Yeah.
That's what I'm pleading with the private sector. I'm pleading with some people that I know have deep, and I mean deep pockets.
Yeah.
The people that have the capability to make some changes, even if they wanted to take it as an initiative, run a pilot, or just run a pilot program. Just do something different than what has been done for this many years, and I promise you that we'll get. a
And for
different
me,
result.
that's what I believe in more than anything. Is
So,
capitalism.
but you understand that not taking a position,
No, no,
like
no, no,
actually
no.
ends up helping this guy.
No,
end up
what I'm
being in
what I'm
that
saying
position.
is, it's easy for us to say that somebody's a bad guy when they're supposed to be the leader. Because here's the thing: there's never been a situation where everything went perfectly. So then, on both sides, you're gonna be able to say, "Oh, but you did this, that was wrong," or "You did this." Somebody's gonna be mad at some point in time.
Make no mistake about it. One of the jobs of a president is to protect our borders, right? So it's not a question of becoming offended because either president, Republican or Democrat, decided to do something that is going to improve that area. The problem is that that's not happening. By neither one of these guys.
Yeah.
That's what I'm not just criticizing one. What I'm saying is the other guy managed to slow down there. So we have less people getting abused, becoming drug mule carriers. We had less people drowning. We have less people getting shot. We have less people being driven into prostitution. We have less that he managed to do so by percentage default that. Decline to a certain number.
Yeah.
But make no mistake about it. No real solution has happened
Correct.
in the last 30, 40 years.
So for me, I think you're saying it. I don't think the answer is going to be on the left or the right. I think the answer is going to come from the entrepreneur, right? It's going to come from business owners. It's going to come from people taking power into their own hands.
I agree.
To stop. And I'm not saying politics aren't important. We know politics are important. But I feel like too much, sometimes we rely only on politics to make decisions or make answers for us
let me ask you,
versus us coming up with
who
solutions.
is going to make it easier? Who is going to make it easier for the entrepreneur? Because that's the way that I'm going.
depends.
That's the way that I'm
It
thinking.
depends.
No, but
Who's
guys,
gonna make
it easier for the
let
entrepreneur?
me stop you here. This is it's super. This is not. Let me stop you. This is not. Congress will have to approve the idea that an immigration process can literally go private. It has to remain political right now,
Yeah, of
just
course.
because that is the way the laws are actually structured. It is federal government responsibility
Yeah.
to keep and so you see states taking at a local level, right? Some initiatives, I mean, Texas, the state of Florida, that there's different areas in different states. Arizona has tried to do certain things also, but the state of California has been dealing with these issues for many years. but it is the responsibility as of this moment, according to how we are actually. That's why it still is political, and it's got the idea is how do we get it off political hands, but it have to be approved by
Congress.
politics. So you have to have real powerful forces with a lot of money to be able to go out there, lobby, make an argument, make a case, and hopefully scare the life out of this many politicians that are playing with the life of people.
True.
And then hopefully you can see
I
something
agree.
becoming
Here-
private.
Here's the last thing that I will say. Alexi, I spent 17 years. I spent 17 years finding a way for me to become a U.S. citizen so I could vote. So, it's like, and it was lawyer fees, it was a lot of different processes and stuff like that. So, and I understand your
And
position,
then you have to do it
but
multiple
also,
times because they say,
Yeah.
wait a minute, you don't look at that
Yeah.
picture.
no, but what I'm saying is, like, it really, I really have, like, my invitation for everybody, because it really does bother me. For somebody that has had always the right to vote, you have been able to,
You know,
and you had the right to vote your whole life, and you take it for granted. Like, go make, like, run for politics, like, go do, like, become the person that does that. Like,
I did that before.
I'm serious, but it's like, for me, like, that's my number one thing. It's
Yeah.
like, I fought for so long for me to be able to have the opportunity to vote, and people that actually have the opportunity. I don't think this is you, but a lot of people out of laziness.
Why don't you run also for politics?
I can't. What do you mean?
I mean,
You
not
have
for,
to be
you
for
can't
like
be president.
35
Not for-
years
not
and all
for
of these different
president,
things. It's
I mean,
like,
But you can still be a mayor somewhere.
no, it takes 35 years.
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, you have to be. I think it's in Congress or something like that. You have to. You cannot. I don't know. It's been a while since I graduated school. I promise you, we're gonna look up the laws, and I'm gonna tell you it takes a couple years in order for you to
Yeah,
do that.
gotcha.
So my point is that it's an invitation to
run
do it.
for any office.
Not any office.
Well,
Yeah.
that's my point.
Yeah.
Run for something. Build
Yeah.
the muscle. Get
Well, I
it for
gotta
the
build the
people.
business first.
Yeah.
I gotta finish building my business. I swear I'm gonna be involved. For me, it is that important.
Yeah.
It is that important, and your exercise to vote, don't be lazy. Go freaking find out what actually people are doing. Because I was lazy at some point, just so you know. I was very lazy, and I was just saying, this is what Jorge Ramos said in Univision. That's exactly what I'm going to do because I'm a victim.
I'm doing it.
The more and more I looked into it, and I
Yeah.
found out things like this, I'm like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about it. And being silent or not voting, for me, is condoning that happening. And that's a problem.
Yeah, I get you, but I also don't like when people go out and vote because they feel like that's the party they're supposed to be a part of.
No,
So, for
I'm not a
like,
party person,
You get what I'm
just so
saying?
you
Like,
know.
like for you said you were a Democrat for a long time.
Yeah.
Because you were supposed to be. You know,
Right.
and people assume I'm supposed
Hey,
to be
Hispanic
a
woman, of
Yeah,
course, yeah.
I'm supposed to be a Democrat
Yeah.
because I'm black. You get
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I don't want to fit into
Let's
that
be
either.
honest.
Where
Let's be honest.
Everybody thought I was
like Dave
Democrat.
Chappelle would say, right? Listen.
Yeah. so no, and it's not that I'm against voting. I'm not trying to say that.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna be voting blindly.
Oh,
because
please,
100%.
never do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, no, 100%. And I'm saying that I'm okay with the person that went and looks at that
Yeah.
voting ballot. You know what I mean? And you're saying, you
I
know,
research every single guy.
that's literally. I don't. Yeah, I don't. Want,
I
I
really-
gotta
this
see
guy?
who's this, who's that person, right? What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
And then there are some people that say, you know what? I know. I think I'm gonna pass on this. That's different
Yeah.
than not exercising anything at
Gotcha.
all.
Yeah, absolutely.
especially based on
Yeah.
you coming out of your own conclusion. I think it's something that
Yeah.
I highly recommend. But anyway, guys, listen. I appreciate that perspective. Obviously, I didn't know that we were going to, extend it even that much on every component. But I think that but these things are listen.
it's
They're
coming up.
happening. They're important. They're not going away. They're not getting. For whatever reason, everybody decided that you wanted to talk a lot today, right? I think that
I
just-
opened the can of worms.
just to give everybody heads up, we're probably gonna break this up into two parts. So we're gonna do a episode number 9.5, or 9 and 9, or just
9.5.
9 part 1 and
part
part
1
2.
and part 2, right? Let's not make
like-
it more complicated. Like, wait a minute, I gotta do math now.
No.
No, let's keep it simple. Part 1, part 2, just to give you the opportunity to, process some of the information. So with that being said, we are deeply grateful. We want to hear your opinion about some of these topics.
Comment,
just about
comment below.
every single one
Do
of them.
you vote? Now the question is if you vote.
Or
you
again,
vote.
if you're concerned
Exactly.
about losing your job and
Are
any of
you
these
concerned about losing your
recommendations,
job?
if you're part of that group, you know what I mean, let us know. By the way, any other recommendations that you will issue to somebody, share with us, you know what I
That's
mean,
true.
any other things that you think that would be helpful for somebody just in case they can be facing
Why
that.
should you stay away from buying?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
be careful, you know, don't buy that car.
Correct,
Stay
correct.
away from the Ferraris right now,
yeah,
right?
not the time.
With that being said, everybody, thank you so much for
Deuces.
spending some time with us.
This is
We
number
truly
one.
appreciate
This is
it.
number two.
If you like any of this information, pass it around,
Yep.
subscribe, like, and please
Comment.
do comment.
Yep.
I appreciate you guys. Take it easy.
Awesome.